Greetings, my friends. It's your friendly neighborhood PhD, Dr. Judd Burton, coming to you with another episode of the Beyond Report on this Tuesday, January I guess we're at the 18th, 2022. As always, if you like the content, please click a like, subscribe, and share. I do appreciate all the support. We are continuing to grow this channel, and you're part of that. And I'll stay on here, of course, as long as I possibly can. Looking for some other platforms in the event that the Ministry of Truth just decides to um, invoke their censorial duties. All right. Well, today I'm going to hit the ground running with some rather interesting stuff. Um, if you weren't convinced that vampirism or the spirit of vampirism, the demonic force behind it, was real, um, there's certainly things coming to light in our own day and age that suggest that in fact that spirit's very much alive. Now most of us who subscribe to a supernatural worldview, looking through the biblical lens, can see that there are certain cabals within the upper echelons of our society who practice all kinds of vampiric activities. But I ran across a story about actress Megan Fox and her fiance solidifying their bond, their union, by drinking one another's blood. So once again, Hollywood is beating us over the head uh, with where they really stand and who from whom they're taking their marching orders. Um, this stuff is real, folks. I mean, as I've always said about vampires, you have to strip the literary, cinematic trappings away from the vampire to truly understand it. The European nobleman, Dracula, suave cape. Uh, uh, yeah, you've got to take that imagery out and re-examine the vampire through the biblical lens. And of course, you can do that with coursework through the Institute of Biblical Anthropology. Um, I also ran across another interesting article about another demonic manifestation that I write about and deal with, and that is the werewolf. Now, as recently as late last year, there's a creature in southern Mexico, and this is part of the larger tradition in the Latin America and the American Southwest. There's a creature there called the Nahual that has been sighted in the Chiapas region, not just last year, but this dates back years and decades and possibly even centuries. Um, but the Nahual is a werewolf type creature, but very much in line with the kinds of shape shifting creatures that you find in Hispanic folklore. You find that it's combined with witchcraft, and in fact, the Nahual is a often described as a black sorcerer or a dark sorcerer who can shapeshift into animals. In this case, a canid type animal. And has been sighted not only in some wilderness areas, and there are some remote stretches of Chiapas, um, but it's also been sighted in a number of towns as well. So once again, if you thought these kinds of manifestations weren't real, the really the qualitative and quantitative data is mounting. If you take these accounts for their anthropological value and statistical value, um, or these types of accounts, then that's certainly what you've got building up. And even if you can, just averaging out raw statistics, even if you can peripheralize some as flights of fancy, then that leaves you with a percentage of them that deserve serious consideration about their existence in real space and time. Uh, Denying 100% naturalistic identification There are both natural and supernatural or preternatural elements at work here. So yes, the demonic spirits behind werewolves are also still active today, and I suspect that they will be more so as we're seeing more of these kinds of stories. Now, this past Sunday, I had the good fortune of participating in a roundtable on mythology and the Watchers with my good friends Derek Gilbert of View from the Bunker, who kindly hosted us, Doug Van Dorn, and Brian Godawa. The four of us talked about comparative mythology and the identities of the Watchers. It was a really excellent thing. The good news, aside from this just being fun and timely and good content, is that we're probably going to make this a regular thing. Maybe do it as much as once a month. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that, particularly if that becomes a regular rotation in View from the Bunker. So I'm really excited about that. We had a really excellent exchange. It was a real iron sharpening iron moment for all of us. And I think I'll round out the news portion of this by kind of bringing things back to the fact that these entities and old gods are still active in the world today. And if you had to guess what the leading cause in 2021 of human death was, I wonder what your guess might be. Some people might turn to murder statistics. Certainly disease in the face of recent years would be a source of that statistical analysis. You might even think that COVID deaths might be the leading cause. Well, to date, that number is at 3.5 million. No, the leading cause of death in 2021 was abortion, to the tune of 42.6 million procedures, if I'm remembering that correctly. That should be all the proof you need, despite the fact that it's been completely sterilized and whitewashed and given a secular face. That ought to be all the evidence you need that the worship of Molech, call him what you will. Derek Gilbert's done some really excellent work and traces one of his identities as this Watcher Semyadza, the leader of the Watchers that landed on Herman. So yeah, Molech worship is alive and well, and plenty of participants around the world. God will not sit back for long as those numbers continue to mount. I find it hard to believe that there isn't some measure of judgment that we're under now because of it. That should be sobering on a number of fronts to you. But what is the source here, people? It's supernatural. It's the supernatural evil. The devil, Shaitan, Hasatan, Satan, whatever appellation you throw at him and it sticks, it's a supernatural evil and it's real. It's not in a Hollywood movie. It's not on some distant shore. It's in our backyard. And of the many ways that you can prepare yourself for these kinds of strange things, you know, whether it's books or mentors that you acquire. One way that you can do it is by taking some coursework through the Institute of Biblical Anthropology, and I offer a number of programs that are pertinent to this, most notably the Biblical Demonology and Preternatural Morphology, which is kind of the Monsters 101 class that deals with these kinds of manifestations. The mythology mythology program is probably equally helpful, but also have biblical anthropology, ancient Near Eastern civilization, and Mediterranean civilization. All of those are on sale each for $110 through this week. So until the 21st or 22nd of January. And I'll put information in the description about that. All you have to do is email me at professorburton@yahoo.com, and you can go ahead and get registered for the next session. And my books are also on sale for 10% off, and I'll put information in the description on that as well. So there are definitely going to be some sources in the bookstore that will help you in terms of that, not the least of which are books like Interview with the Giant, The Nephilim Dossier, The Shepherd's Sling, even Paneas will offer great insight into this. And I also have books on all kinds of mythology and Greco-Roman mythology. So there's a lot there to draw on that may help you out. Now, in terms of appearances, I'm as I pointed out, I appeared on View from the Bunker and the Mythology Roundtable, and also appeared on Ayala Nunez's excellent show. We had a really good discussion on biblical giants and the North American giants too. And I believe that's supposed to be posted up tomorrow. So follow my social media feeds, and you'll see the links to be able to listen to that particular podcast. And I think the View from the Bunker Roundtable is going to be put up on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Coming up, I have an appearance that I'm also very excited about. Our friend Kenny C. from The Rock is going to have me on his show. It'll be a live Facebook event, I think. And I'm excited about that for a number of reasons. Not just because of he's a brother in the Lord, and we're both interested in this material, but Kenny is an amazing guitarist and musician. And back in the day, I used to sling a little axe myself and thought that's what I was going to do for a living. So, and we both kind of come from the same school of thought in terms of guitar and composition and shredding and that sort of thing. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be January the 26th, I believe. I'll remind you in the next Beyond report. So, lot going on in the world, a lot to be supernaturally aware of, a lot to be discerning about. But remember, our hope is in Jesus Christ. God is still on the throne, but we also need to be discerning of the signs around us. We don't need to be like the Pharisees who could predict the weather, but they couldn't see the signs of the times. Jesus scathed them and scolded them for that. So let's be true disciples and warrior poets in this time. Well, until the next Beyond report, I will be in prayer for all of you, and thank you for your support, and Godspeed. We'll see you again soon.